Okay, so this is Mandawab Road. So these are what are these called again? These are an invasive species here. So they're I forget the name of these. Phragmites. It's called Phragmites. So right there where that patch ends, I just ran just right about there, like maybe 100 yards just past there. So the Phragmites here, they're telling me not to go past 22 minutes. Just around 22 minutes, because the Phragmites, when you dig up their roots, they're really sharp under the roots, and you can stab your foot on them. And the roots are so sharp it'll go right through your foot. So I can tell the Phragmites are telling me, don't run past 22 minutes, I think. Because my theory was running 25 minutes would purify me as needed. So I remember there's a story here, me and my Uncle Keith and Martha, we were parked right there. The car was parked there and we were drinking here. And my Uncle Keith got mad at Martha and he grabbed the keys and he went like this. He tossed the keys in right around there. I was like, oh, what'd you do that for? We can't get home now. And him and Martha, they were under no condition to drive, so I was okay to drive. So I had to wade in here, probably where that part is, right around there. And it's so black and dirty, the water, and it was about 4 feet deep. It came up to my waist. I had to feel around roughly where those keys were, and it was all muddy and mushy. It scared me. I was scared of, of getting bit by a snapping turtle. So you'll notice the story at McDonald's had to do with maturing and it. So there's two things in creation. Duality talks about two things. Since the Native Americans call this Turtle Island, we're the turtle. We respect the turtle. There's 13 months in a turtle shell. When you look at a turtle, it has 13 things on it. That's represent the 13 months that the Native Americans have, as opposed to the 12 months calendar. So we're the turtle. The 13 things on the turtle is my status card number, 1313. So I'm the turtle. Mother Jaden, she wears number 13 in that picture that I drew of her. So she's 13. And so we represent the turtle in that story of maturing in it. Maturing is life. It is like a force of consumption. It preys on children here every 27 years. So, it's a predator. It is a predator that preys on children. So, because I was scared to go in here because of the snapping turtles, there's a great deal of fear that I have to come up with. Like, am I doing the right thing? Am I doing the right thing by running at 6 o'clock at night? No, I'm not, because they're trying to use a different story. They're not using fear tactics no more. They're basically using lies to get me to run at 6 o'clock when it's too late. So I'm not going to run at when they want me to. I'm going to run at 2. But 2 o'clock might even be too late. But there's a trailer called The Curious Case of Benjamin Button. And when you look at that trailer, the clock is set at 2. And then the big hand is set at 12. So the 2 on the clock is 10 minutes, but the little hand is set at 12. So that's 2, right? 12 minutes. But if you add 2 minutes onto the 10 minutes, you get 2, and then the 2 is 2. So 2, 2. So they're telling me to run at 2 in order to rewind time of my grandfather particle. So that's what I'm going to run at. And they're trying to get me to run this late in the evening. No. So the previous story I told you about running at 2, that's when I'm going to start running at 2 o'clock. Not at 2:22. I'm going to run right after I'm done my meal at 2. I'm going to come for a run. which will be roughly around 220. So, Uncle Keith and Martha, that's your contribution to this story about the keys. The keys are, it's connected to Edge of Tomorrow, where Emily Blunt and Tom Cruise are talking about the keys. We need to find the keys. We need to find the keys. All this time I've been trying to look for these keys. What are these keys, man? It's here. Uncle Keith and Martha, it's the keys. The keys you tossed in here. These are the keys. The keys is this road here because all this beautiful oxygen here being produced by these trees. The quietness, like there's no cars, there's no honking. It's quiet here. So that's another one of the keys. Since I represent both magnetism and electricity, I have to choose one. So which one am I going to choose? Since I'm the grandfather, I would choose sound. That's why I'm running with the frequencies. But if I was to run down here in silence, just listening to the birds, I could theoretically resurrect the grandmother. And that's not what I don't want. I want her to stay asleep. I'll let Mother Jaden deal with that department. So I'm going to just run with the grandfather. I'm just going to run with the sound for however long it takes. If it takes me from now till Christmas time running down this road with the sound frequency, then that's what I'm going to do. I have to pick and choose. I can't be one or the other. So here's a clue here. This is a hair elastic. Not really. There's a representation of a nuclear fusion reactor. It also represents CERN. So I have to choose one. So I'm choosing to be the male side. By running with the sound frequency, it's my intention to purify all the universe's sound frequency. So I'll basically be purifying the magnetism side of creation, and that'll allow them to turn that reactor on, which is magnetism. So they'll be able to ride the wave of magnetism into this universe. There won't be any hydrogen sticking to that magnetism wave because it'll be pure. So if I choose to run with just magnetism, like sound that comes from a speaker, you know how speakers make sound, they use a magnet. If you look at a big subwoofer, that's a big magnet on the back. So I can tell that that's what I'm supposed to run with because our spaceships are giant 12-mile wide superconducting magnets with 11 nuclear fusion reactor engines on them. So because they're magnets, they have to ride the magnetic side of the wave. They can't ride the electric side. They have to ride the magnetic side of the wave. So by riding the magnetic side, I have to purify sound because that's what a magnet is. Magnet creates sound through a speaker. So I'm going to run with sound frequency from now until however long it takes me to open up that door. I'm not running the way they want. The way they want me to do is run 5 days down here with sound and then 5 days with silence. No, because that's their plan to try to resurrect evil grandfather. So I'm choosing to just run up and down here with sound as long as it takes. If it takes me till Christmas time, then it takes me till Christmas time. So that's their devious plan, but no, I saw through that because I can picture that magnetism wave in the good universe as trying to enter this universe, but it can't because it stops at that universe because evil grandfather's that magnetic wave. But once I take over that wave and make it positive, they turn on the reactor, they can ride that magnetism wave. Now, as I'm running down here with magnetism, and I leave the electric wave as negative by not running in silence and by running in sound consistently every day with the sound frequency on, I'm not touching the silence wave. That keeps that grandmother wave negative. So my earth protons will stick to that electromagnetic wave because she's negative. So the hydrogen in the universe, only the free radical earth protons that are sailing around the universe since the beginning of time, 1 billion years ago, all those earth neutrons are going to stick to the electric side of the wave in this universe. And when that happens, the positive waves mean evil spaceships are not going to work. They're not going to be able to go anywhere. It's even theoretically possible that their nuclear fusion reactors will shut down. If they shut down, that means CERN, trying to send a proton over to their spaceships isn't going to work because I'm hydrogen. If I'm positive and they're negative, my grandfather doesn't have to allow those nuclear fusion reactors to work. He doesn't have to let those hydrogen create, compress and turn on. So my theory is that I'll purify the reactors and he'll shut them down, or they'll become positive. The reason why the black holes are being created is because the Earth proton that CERN is playing with, it goes flying off towards the nuclear fusion reactor, which is negative, because positive attracts a negative. Well, if I'm positive proton and the reactor black holes are positive because I'm positive, then that proton isn't going to go flying over towards the UFO to create a black hole or an EMP. So that's what that represents. It's an elastic that goes on females' hair. They're telling me, in order to shut the ring down, don't run with sound. Don't run with silence. Don't run in silence, Anthony. Run in sound. Over and over and over and over and over. And that's the key. The keys. We need to find the keys. And thanks Uncle Keith and Martha. Those are the keys, guys. You guys are helping me figure out what the keys are. So I now have the keys, which is running in sound and not silence. And I thought you guys might like to hear that story, because it means that I now have the keys of this universe. And in one of these days, running up and down here with sound frequency means I'm gonna get that door open soon. Come on, Louie. Let's go. So, I thought you guys deserve to hear that story, so you can make up your mind on, which side of the fence you guys want to spend forever on. Forever asleep, and then have your souls recycled back into creation over 1,000 years, as we're waiting for paradise to be created. Or after that, I guess. So it would happen after. So once we get pregnant, the first baby, that'll destroy evil. Once they're destroyed, we have to learn how to create a solar system. That may take a while. But once we're taught how to do that, her and I will get pregnant with fraternal twins. When the fraternal twins pregnancy happens, we're going to create bodies in the 7 parallel universes, the spiritual rewind time, and create those bodies. Like I said, it'll take probably 20,000 years before we get to meet like me and Jaden get to meet our actual selves. But after that, when we do, they can start creating more bodies in the universe. And once they start creating, once all creation starts creating more bodies in the universe, all 123, all the evil people who are asleep will have their souls recycled back into newborn fraternal twins throughout creation. We're going to use their souls again. We're going to rewind their souls back and make their existence disappear, and then put that soul back in a baby. That's what Satan being loosed out of his prison after 1,000 years is about. Recycling souls back into creation. So that's happening, folks. There's nothing you can do to stop it. So the choice is, do you want to have your soul recycled back by talking crap about me, opening your mouth up and blaspheming my holy name? Because if you do, you don't get a ticket to paradise. You get your soul recycled back into creation. Because only I can destroy both body and soul in hell. Nobody else can. I'm the one you need to worry about. So, you can choose to stand on that side of the fence, have your soul recycled back into creation, or you can choose to stand on this side of the fence. If you do on this side, you have to start confessing your sins, and you have to start singing like canaries, or you're not going to make it to paradise. Because I can't take liars with me to paradise. One liar could stab me in the back 100 million years down the road. So, that's where we're at, folks. 200,000 years of evil. Evil's reign in this kingdom has come to an end. So make up your mind, folks. Make up your mind.